What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today, Bitcoin's price is at 61,500, and I wanted to discuss where are we at in this cycle? Are we going to see prices go higher, or are we going to see markets correct or crash? And I also wanted to discuss a stock that is undervalued and beginning to break out and could be at a great buying level, as well as two other altcoins that are just beginning to break out of their accumulation zones. All right, everyone, if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and share this video with people who are interested in investing or swing trading or want to get started in building possibly a retirement account. So, where are we at in this cycle? Well, here is the psychology of markets. And right now, if you compare this zone right here, it looks like the parallel channels we just seen on Bitcoin, where we have just started to break out and we're entering the optimism and belief phase. Now, sometimes in markets, we start to feel euphoric. We feel that euphoria, that excitement when everything is pumping and going up, and we have to step back and question, are we getting ready for a correction or are we just starting? So that is something I wanted to talk about today. And another thing I wanted to mention is right now we are starting to see a lot of these altcoins pump, and we're seeing things like meme coins being talked about everywhere. There's a bunch of videos going around. Dog with hat is jumping up 50%. And so whenever you see these higher risk plays starting to be talked about everywhere, that's generally a sign of concern. And so we have to be kind of cautiously optimistic, probably would be the best word right now, I believe. And over here on FX Evolution, Tom mentioned that the sentiment report says, looks like the market killed the bears, almost the lowest reading ever recorded. And as you can see here, this past week we had a 21% reading on the bears, or people feeling negative about the markets. And so these are the times when you typically do see that pullback or some sort of bigger correction coming. It's when everyone is so bullish and so euphoric and excited about things, when greed takes over and everyone's chasing those pumps, that's typically when you see these pullbacks. So, where are we going? Well, if you take a look at the Russell 2000 or the IWM, you can see we just broke out of this accumulation phase over the past couple years. And as as the Federal Reserve begins to cut rates and monetary policy begins to ease, then typically that's good for small cap, mid and small cap stocks and some of these riskier assets to really begin to expand, because it allows them to borrow capital at a lower interest rate, which helps give them cash or have capital to build their businesses, to expand. And that seems to be the area we are entering now. And where can we go on the Russell? We could go as high, if we stay in this parallel channel, as around 240, or possibly back down to this bottom side here of 171. But right now we're in an uptrend. We're making series of higher lows and higher highs. So what does that mean for some of these small caps? Well, one thing I wanted to mention is I saw this morning. Robinhood, out of all the financial apps, has the most number of users. And so whenever you start to see this FOMO, these bull markets taking off and this FOMO kicking in, and everyone's talking about a certain asset or a certain stock, then all these retail investors come out and they want to try to jump in on the party and make some money themselves. Generally, the vast majority of retail will jump in towards the end of the cycle and get burned. And so that's one thing I wanted to talk about today. As you can see here on this chart, Robinhood far out exceeds all of these other investing and financial apps that people use. And these are like the real retail traders that come in when you see things like we saw back in 2021, things like GameStop and AMC taking off. Uh, these are the ones that come in whenever the taxi cab drivers or your grandmother's talking about Bitcoin or somebody out on the street just in passing. You hear conversations of people talking about things, at the water cooler or whatever. So one thing I wanted to mention about Robinhood is right now they are breaking out of this accumulation zone. And so what that probably means is people are starting to expect this stock to rise because as FOMO kicks in and people get excited about a market, then they go in and they start buying, they start trading. There's commission fees associated with a lot of these apps. So these type of companies tend to make a lot more money in a bull cycle. And as you can see here, Robinhood has been accumulating just like we saw on the IWM for a long period of time and is starting to make a series of higher lows and higher highs. So where could Robinhood go? Well, there's a little bit of resistance right around this $18 area, currently sitting at $16.50. But after that, the next levels is this 26 to $28 area. And then if it breaks through there, then you could see it go to this $34 to $36 area. So a lot of upside potential for Robinhood. And if you look back to the previous highs that we saw back in 2021, this stock was at nearly $70. So this stock could potentially do a 4 or 5x this bull cycle. Another thing I want to mention about Robinhood is in their annual earnings and estimates report in 2024-2025, the forward guidance is estimated to be positive and higher, so that is very good for the stock. And another thing is Robinhood is now offering some cryptos. So as this Bitcoin bull cycle continues to rage, then you'll see people coming to this app wanting to buy things such as Avalanche, of course, Bitcoin, Chainlink, Ethereum, and even some of these memes such as Dogecoin. And what that means is they're going to have a lot more users and their revenues are going to go up. Also, a lot of these cryptos that are listed here on Robinhood have already ran, 100 or 200 or even 300%. But there's a couple on here that are just starting to break out of their accumulation zones. So I wanted to discuss those. And by the way, if you're interested, there's links down to my referral account for Robinhood. You can click those down below. But those cryptos that are starting to break out of the accumulation zone is Tezos, XTZ, and Stella Loomis, XLM. So let's take a look at those charts. Right here is Stella, the XLM, and as you can see, it is starting to break out of this resistance here once again. It has been accumulating for a long period of time, making a series of higher lows, and it did spike up here earlier this year and came back down, but this time it could be ready to go higher as we see Bitcoin's price go up and break all-time highs. A lot of these altcoins and layer ones are going to begin pumping, and so this could go upwards of 17 to 21 cents, and then from there you could go up to 25 or even 29 cents. And then beyond that, the next level would be the 32 to 35 cent range. So if this crypto altcoin pumps back up to just to get to the level where Bitcoin is at currently today, it would have to reach this zone here. And the way these cycles work is Bitcoin runs first, then Ethereum, then the layer ones, and then these smaller altcoins. So what will happen is Bitcoin will run up, break all-time highs, then it's in price discovery, and it will eventually top out, and then these altcoins will continue to follow. The money will flow into these higher risk assets. So as you can see here on this chart, this is one of those altcoins that could do a 5 to 10x in this bull cycle. And the other one, Tezos XTZ, is just now breaking out of this resistance after this long area of accumulation. Again, we're putting in a series of higher lows and higher highs. And if you zoom out on this chart, the next real level of resistance, once we break through this 18 to 19 cent range, would be $1.80 to $1.90 range would be $2.90 to $3.25. And so that there is a 2 to 3x alone. And then if we zoom on out, then we could go to $4.15 up to $4.58. And beyond that, then we move up to the $6.20 range to the $6.56 range. So again, another coin that could do easily a 5 to 10x in this bull cycle. So there's still some good opportunities out there. When you look at this long base of accumulation and we start to see these breakouts, that's when these things really pump. We'll have to evaluate as we go through each one of these phases and determine whether we want to take profits or if we want to continue to hold. I'm a swing trader, so I look for these levels of accumulation and a series of higher lows and higher highs, and try to get the best possible entry that I can. Typically, what I like to see on a chart is about 3 points of contact on a trend line that's moving upward uh, of higher lows. And then that lets me know that this trend is starting to shift in a positive direction. And it's the same thing in a down cycle. If I'm looking to short markets, typically what I want to see is uh, 3 points of contact of lower highs. And then that lets me typically know that we are in a down cycle and you can short markets. But right now, these markets are definitely moving into what appears to be bull run territory where a lot of money can be made. So, if that's something you're interested in, as I mentioned, I rolled over a portion of my 401k into an I Trust Capital account. And this is an account that allows you to buy spot gold, spot silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, and a lot of these other altcoins, these layer ones, and a couple of the smaller altcoins, and even a couple meme coins. But they allow you to invest in crypto with an IRA, which has tax advantages. So, if you're younger and you're looking to invest, um, I always tried to invest when I started investing. I started out around 10% of my annual income, and just dollar cost average every paycheck, 10%, 10%, 10%. Make your own decisions. That's up to you. Uh, if you were to do 10%, I wouldn't recommend going all in on these really small caps. These are high risk plays. You do typically want to have some safer portions in your portfolio, such as maybe a broader ETF that covers an index fund, or maybe Bitcoin in general. I do think it is definitely up and to the right, and this is going to be life changing for a lot of people. Um, but yeah, if you're just getting into investing, that's kind of what I recommend. Honestly, I even saved or invested a lot more in that as I got closer to trying to step out on my own. And so I think 10% is a good level to start at. If you can do 12 or 15 or 20%, even better. It's just going to put you in a better spot in the future. And if you already have an IRA or a 401k or an IRA, you can roll over a portion of that into iTrust Capital. Like I said, that's what I did. I rolled over a portion of my IRA into iTrust Capital. So if you're interested in that, there is a link also down in the description below, and feel free to use that. I appreciate it. It does support this channel and help me to grow. But more importantly, be sure to hit that like button, be sure to subscribe, and be sure to share this with somebody because that really helps these videos a lot. And this kind of information is important for people that are wanting to learn about how to invest or about how to swing trade. Um, like I said, I am a swing trader. I also own real estate properties. And so this kind of information is good for people to help them understand how to build financial independence and even financial freedom if that is something you're looking for. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this content. I hope you all learned something here. And until next time, I'll see you on the other side. Have a great weekend.